Alright, so this is a quick little tutorial on how to compile LMMS on 64-bit Windows. You should be seeing this video inside of a guide found on the LMMS GitHub. If you aren't, then that'll probably be in this video's description. There's some things in there that you'll need, just like some commands, some copy-paste commands here, and yeah, I would recommend going to that page instead of just typing everything out, because I'm not going to explain to you what to type. I'm just going to copy paste them because they're already on the wiki and they're already there, so there's no need. Now, another quick thing is that you're going to need Microsoft Visual Studio 15. It's the 2017 version. There's a 2019 version in the works as at the time of this recording, but I think the VC package doesn't actually have support for that yet. And if Visual Studio 19 is out, I would still use 2017 because I know that it'll work with VC package. If you want to risk it, I guess you can, but if you get any errors during compiling, just know that that's probably your problem. Alright, so on your desktop or somewhere that you would like, create a new folder. We're just going to create a new folder, and we're going to call this our build folder. You don't have to name it the build folder, but I am, just for simplicity's sake. And inside this folder, we're going to create two more folders. We're going to create our clone folder and our compile folder. Alright, so this is our basic setup. So I'm going to quickly go over these. Our clone folder is where we're going to put what we downloaded off of the GitHub inside. Don't do that just yet, we're getting there. And on the compile, this is where we're going to open up Visual Studio, and this is where we're going to work. Alright, so next, you probably want to get a VC package off of the GitHub I explained to you. You can just download the zip for that. You should see a GitHub page something like this. I've already downloaded it, so there's a 1 there. And just drag this, or just open it. If you have WinRAR, just open it. You can extract it, do what you want, but as long as you get this file out of there, you should be good. Now we're just going to drag that into our build folder. It might take a little bit. Alright, now we're going to right click, we're going to rename this and remove the -master off of it, just because that's something GitHub does. I don't know why it does it, it just does, because that's the version. Yeah, just remove the master off of it. You don't have to, but it's easier when you're in the command line. Now, now that we're here, there's also a couple more things you're going to need to get. You're going to need to get CMake and Qt. So these two things are essential for this to work. Now, when you're on the QMake or the Qt website, you're going to click the download try buy. We're already there, but just in case you aren't, click that. Alright, now what we're going to do is this commercial, or actually we're going to choose this open source. Now, there's rights and obligations against this. It's fine. LMMS is an open source program, so we're just going to get the open source version of Qt. And then you just go open source, and you install it from here. I already have it. Now, a quick disclaimer. I don't know if I installed it wrong, but I basically just added the things that had C++. That's what LMMS is written in, by the way, if you didn't know. And it equated to about 50 gigabytes of space on my hard drive. Thankfully, I had another hard drive I could just plop it onto without worries. But if you don't have that, either choose your things, or choose what you get on there precisely, or just quit this tutorial, because you will need this. This is a dependency. It will not work without it, because LMMS is written in Qt C++. Now the second thing you're going to need is CMake. I've already got this. Just get the latest thing. Make sure you have Windows, and we're going to do the installer. Just click on that. I've already got it again. And in here, it's very important. There will be a pop-up that says create desktop shortcut. You want that because we're going to be using the GUI for CMake. Alright, so once you've got those, by the way, Qt and Visual Studio will take a while. So, you know, pause this video while they download. They're not quick downloads. So yeah, pause it and come back when you have those installed. Alright, if you have those installed, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to open up our command line. We just type command line inside of here, or command, and we'll see command prompt. We'll have this window open up. You probably will need administrator to do this because it's Windows. So if you don't have administrator, this won't work. Alright, now we're going to use CD, and I'm going to run through this all with you. We can just put this onto the side. If you have another screen, put it on there, move it out of the way, minimize it, do whatever. But you probably, if you have like a very specific path, like if you put it into documents, development, or something like that, you'll probably need it open, but I know where everything is and what it's named, so I don't need that. Okay, so when we start up this command line, you can see that we're starting at our user, right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to type cd desktop. That'll bring us to our desktop, right? This is basically like a file browser without a GUI. And then we're going to type cd build, then cd vc package. Alright, now we're in here. Now there's a code on the GitHub that you'll want to get, and make sure that period is there. Let me get the thing. Here you go. We're just going to Control-V that in. And if Control-V doesn't work for you, click on this little icon up here, click Edit, then click Paste. This will do its thing. It might take a while. Alright, so even that can take a little bit. So that took me about 12 minutes. So basically, I just cleared the screen. You can do that by typing CLS if it makes you feel better. Makes it so that you get a nice clean terminal here. So we're just going to CD back by doing CD and then backslash. That'll bring you to your disk. I don't actually know how to go back a folder. You can't just type like the folder name. So we're just going to have to go through this ourselves. Alright, so we're back on our desktop. Alright, so we're back to our build folder. In here we want to cd to our clone folder. And we want to type the command on step 12 into here. Just paste it in. And you're also going to need the Git repositories, I believe, for this. So now that that's done, I basically just added the thing to the wiki on where to get GitHub. So sorry for not explaining that sooner, but you will need Git in order to do this. At least this step anyway. I think this is the only step we'll need Git, but still. Alright, so now that that's done, we can move our command prompt out of the way. Just move it to another screen if you've got one, or minimize it. We might need it later, and this is a friendly time to remind you that if you need any help at all, you can go to the LMMS Discord and put your suggestion in support. I might be there to help you out. If I'm not, I'm sure somebody else would be kind enough to help you out, but I will remind you that this is a software made for Linux, so there are a lot of Linux people in there, and you might not get help right away because a lot of people compile it on Linux and work on it on Linux. But this is just for the Windows users. Alright, so now when you open up your build folder, you should see that there's something in your clone file. It'll be LMMS, and this is basically what you need to get started. In VC package, you've got all this. Alright, so the next step is to open up CMake. You should have a thing on your desktop for it. I placed it in another file. This is the file that I actually use the compile for. I've just got it in there. So open up your CMake GUI, and I'm going to remove all this. There you go. Alright, so when you open up CMake, you should see a program that looks a little bit like this. You want to click Browse Source first. Now your source code is going to be your build folder, your clone folder, and click and open your LMMS folder. You'll select that and make sure it looks like that on there. Your build folder will simply be your compile folder, so you select that. Alright, I believe we should be good. Alright, so then you click configure. Now these steps are very important as you cannot change them later. This is the one time you've got. So on your generator, make sure you set it to Visual Studio 15 2017. I know it has a thing for Visual Studio 2019, but that doesn't work yet. You can try your chances. Don't think you want to though. Alright, so for the sake of this tutorial, just go with Visual Studio 15. You're going to set this to Time64. This is very important. We're compiling Time64 LMMS on Time64 Windows. We want this to be set on Time64. You'll get errors if you don't. It won't compile properly. Very important step. Alright, then we're going to click Specify Toolchain for cross-compiling, then hit Next. In here, you'll want to go into your build folder, your VC package folder. You'll want to go to your build trees folder, and then Alright, so you want to go to your VC package folder, and then you want to go to scripts, build systems, and click on vcpackage.cmake and then click open. This is how it should look. Click on finish. Now, if you get an error here, like I will here, I know that my computer will get an error here, which is kind of good. I've got some steps in that for the wiki as well, because I think it's quite a common thing. I believe there's a way to stop this from happening, so you can just do it all in one swoop, but whatever, who cares? So you'll hopefully I'll get the error. I'm pretty sure I'll get the error because I haven't specified something that it needs me to specify. Alright, so you'll see if you see this pop up and you see this error, and you look up here where it says Qt5 directory, and you see Qt5 directory not found, you're going to open up your file browser. You're going to go to where you installed Qt5. I've put it in my internal hard drive here in Qt. And then I'll go to my current version. I know I've got 5.13, but I'm going to use 5.12 for the fun of it. And then MSVC 2017-64. And I believe we're going to go to lib cmake Qt5. Then we're going to click up here, so we get this. We're going to copy that and paste it in the Qt5 directory. Now, just for good measure, I am going to go to my build folder, open up my compile folder, and delete the files inside of there. And then another thing that you're probably going to want to do is expand this, scroll down, and click WinMM. Make sure a lot of the want VST no wine, make sure that's unchecked, and debug FPE, make sure that's unchecked, but everything else should be checked. And then we're just going to click on configure again. Alright, so it's fine if you get some text in red. These aren't necessarily errors. Some of them are just like summaries and things like that, like this. You will get a couple of errors, like following plugins aren't available. Zenad sub effect, unfortunately, will not be available in your test version. So generally, you probably shouldn't be making music with your test version in the first place, but if you are doing something with Zen, I would go onto the LMMS support Discord and figure out how to add that. But it should say configuring done. If it doesn't, if it stops again, make sure you go to the support in the Discord. It's a very helpful place. Alright, then you're going to just click generate up here. This will create all the Visual Studio files. You should see error in generation process. That should be fine. As long as it says generating done, it should work just fine. And then you can open project, but we're not going to. We're just going to put this on the side. We're going to need this to open that project. Alright, so sorry for that. I had to go and do something real quick. Alright, so this is a good time to open up this LMMS.sln file here. This will open it in Microsoft Visual Studio. This might take a while because you've got to load 104 projects, so just sit back and have a cup of coffee. Alright, so once this is open, we're just simply going to press Ctrl, Shift, and B. This will build your file. And I have my output thing here minimized, well, put down, so you should see something like this. It won't really show you much of anything of importance, but if there's any errors, it'll come out here. Alright, once you see that the build succeeded, there should be a couple that failed. That's fine. Just as long as it said build, most of it succeeded. So, when we go back to our compile folder, you should see a debug folder. And inside here are a couple of folders with an exe, so we did this properly. Now, we're going to go to the path where we installed Qt again. So in this case, I put it in my 500 gigabyte internal Qt. We're going to go to our version, MSVC, 2017 x 64. Then we're going to go to plugins. Then we're going to find platforms. We're going to find the SDL2.dll. We're just going to drag this into our debug folder, but make sure you copy it. Make sure you copy it. Don't drag it. Copy it. Copy and paste, because Qt will die if you drag it, because it needs this file. So does this, but still. Alright, so now that that's done, we're going to go back to plugins, we're going to go back to MSVC. We're going to go to bin, and we're going to basically just copy everything in here, and we're going to paste it in here. So we need to go back to our build folder, go to our clone folder, LMMS. So in here we just need to copy these two folders, go back to our build folder, go into our compile, go into debug, and paste these. And that might take a little bit, there's a lot in those. And then while that's doing its thing, no, wrong file. Alright, while that's doing its thing, we need to get our platforms folder from, I believe we get it from our Qt folder. I forgot to explain this in the guide, so I'll be revising the guide to make sure that this gets added in there. That's my external drive. Here you go. And then we'll go to Qt version MSVC. I believe this is the folder we need to copy. I'm just going to copy this just in case. Again, I didn't go over this in my guide, and I'm kind of using my guide to go off of. I need to make sure that this is the one. Platforms. Is this platforms? I believe we've got the right file here. And I'm just going to paste that file here. Alright, here you go. And that should be correct. And I think we're ready. So if you open up the LMMS.exe here, you should see LMMS open up without error. Let's hope. And you should see that it opens up. You won't have all this. This is actually carrying over from the actual version of LMMS I have. But if it opens up and you can place things and do all the latest things. At time of recording, this is like one of the latest things that isn't available. I know this is probably available when you're doing this, but if you can do some of the latest features, you know that you've got the right version of LMMS, and you know that you're ready.